Hello, hello. Welcome to God Encrypted. I am so happy to be here. I hope you all have had an amazing week. It's been super hot here. So let's go, let's go. Let's open with prayer. And we're going to talk tonight about attitude and attitude adjustment. So don't hit that button. Don't turn this off because you just might need one, or you just might need to check yourself and you might learn something. So let's bow our head and say a second moment of prayer. God, just please bless this reading, the words coming out of my mouth right now. Let them flow right into someone's heart. Heal them, uplift them, whatever they're struggling with. Finances, health, a cryptid problem, a money problem, a housing problem, food, whatever they're struggling with, Lord, just let them know that you're real. Life and time is short, and it's so easy to reach out to you. It is so easy to pray and ask you for help and to believe in you and know that you turn all bad things into good and that you will help them if they just seek you, Lord. It's so easy to do. It is literally like billions of dollars sitting right there at their fingertips. It's so easy, but it's worth way much more than money, Lord, something you can't even buy. We say these things and we just ask that you send this message out to reach someone that is struggling so they can be touched and may help them. We say these things in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Let's go. Let's go. I'm excited. I'm going to talk to you about attitude. So sometimes we need to take a self-inventory, a check. I always like to say to my husband, but it's probably me, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I like to say that. That is kind of a little sarcastic but funny thing I like to say, but it's true. Sometimes we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves because your attitude determines everything. It's your attitude in life, not your aptitude, that will determine your altitude, your success. So your attitude in life will determine how far you go, how happy you'll be, not how smart you are, how much money, how your status, your job status, your college degrees. None of that. None of that determines your altitude, how you're a success, how high you'll go in life. It's all about your attitude. You can have lots of things. You can have anything you want to buy. And if you have a negative attitude, you will not enjoy it. You will still be miserable. You can have nothing and choose to be happy. Our attitude is something that we have to choose. We cannot be given it. It's not something we can buy. We choose that every day when we wake up. Before we get out of that bed, we should thank God that we are alive. We should have an attitude of this day is going to be good, and we're going to say, not today, devil. Not today, because the devil tried to get me the other day. He sent a demon after me when I went to talk to my neighbor, and I posted that earlier, and I do not have my computer set up yet, so I accidentally hit the wrong button and I ended the video before I wanted to. I apologize for that. I'm not going to start it all over. I'm still going to post it, but that really happened. I was talking to a man that is actually dying. He has stage 4 cancer, and was going to talk to him about how to be saved, literally how to save his soul. And a demon came at me, approached me. And if I did not have Gabriel, I don't know if he would have harmed me or not, but he was coming towards me. So when that happened, I prayed in authority. And you always say by the authority, because remember, God gave us all the authority over every demonic and negative entity and thing that walks, crawls, flies, swims, whatever on this earth. So remember, whenever you get afraid, you don't need to be afraid. We have already been given the power. We get afraid sometimes because the devil likes to catch us off guard. When we're asleep, when we're walking to talk to a neighbor. Who would expect that in a neighborhood? out of nowhere. I mean, when there's no people, nobody's ever walking around. Who would expect that in the country? I mean, just he gets you when you're least expecting it. That is why it's so important to stay prayed up. So important. So important. So just remember, it's all about our attitude in life. And that always expect the unexpected, because that's how the devil gets us. And he's been around a long time, and he knows scripture and he knows the Bible too. So I wanted to start off with that. And I wanted to talk about, one of the most famous scriptures was, or in the Bible, was talking about the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5:3. And to kind of sum it up, Jesus, puts his robe, the servant's robe on, and he's washing their feet, and he goes to wash Peter's feet, and he says, no, you're not going to wash my feet. You can't wash my feet. And Jesus says, if you don't let me do this, you are not of me. Meaning we have to be willing to serve other people without expecting anything back. That's just the way it goes. I had to pause for a second because I made a mistake. Please forgive me. I said Matthew 5:3, and it is John 13:4-8. Jesus got up from supper, took off his outer robe, and he put on a servant's towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into the basin, and began washing the disciples' feet, wiping them with the towel which was tied around his waist. When he came to Simon Peter, he said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus replied to him, you do not realize what I'm doing, but you will fully understand later. Peter said to him, you will never wash my feet. Jesus answered, unless I wash your feet, you have no part with me. We can have nothing to do with each other. That means if we don't serve others, we're not living for Jesus. We're not for Jesus. We have to do things for other people without expecting anything back. We have to do things for people because we love them, because they're God's children, because we care, because they're another human being. Because what if that was us? What if we were them? What if we were in that situation? So, I mean, that's pretty serious. I know sometimes there's situations I've been in, and I would want someone to do something for me. So I try to give back. I try to give back wherever I can. So that was John 13:4-8. So we have to learn to love and serve others. That we have to give, or we don't have a relationship with Jesus, because that's what Jesus is about, giving. And when you know whose you are and who you are as a person, you don't have to worry about impressing anybody, and that's a great feeling. That's a good feeling. You don't have to worry about what you're wearing, what you look like, your hair, your weight. As long as you are happy with yourself and you know what you're doing is in line with what God would want you to be doing, and you're impressing God by doing that, that will make you happy. You can choose to have that attitude of happiness. And we all go through trials. We all go through problems. So don't feel like you're just the only one going through something. We all do. But you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be happy during that time. And when we're serving others, doing things for others, serving doesn't mean just giving them things, doing things. It's not always about money. I baked a loaf of bread for a man, cleaning someone's house, fixing their car, cutting their grass, doing things, sending them a note, giving them a card, giving them a compliment, doing things for someone else. Maybe someone has never ever even heard a good compliment. You never know. You would be surprised nowadays, right? So um when you when you don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore, that's a freedom. That's a real freedom feeling, because that means you're comfortable with knowing who you are in Christ, so you got nothing to prove to anybody. And when you're serving other people, that doesn't make you weak, and that's humbling yourself. And you know, one of the greatest sermons was a Sermon on the Mount, and that's where I said Matthew 5:3. And Jesus is basically talking about, blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. Meek does not mean weak. You are not weak if you're meek, if you're quiet. If someone says something to you, or you're the type of person who always has to say something back, you got to go fix it because they did this to you, they did that to you. You got to straighten it out, because if you don't, they're going to do it again. Guess what? It's not always, most of the time, not your job. And don't think just because, well, if I don't say something, they're going to think it's okay and they're going to keep doing it to me, because that's exactly what I thought. And finally, I realized it's a never-ending cycle. It never ends. And you get caught in this vicious loop, and you constantly stay uptight, angry, anxious. Let it go. Who cares? Choose to be happy. Let God handle it, and let it go. You can choose to be humble. And you know what? God says he will fight our battles. In Romans 8:28, he says he will, and I'm on a roll now, so don't hit that dial. God says he will turn and work all bad things for our good as long as we continue to follow him. So don't think they're getting away with doing something wrong or bad to one of God's children, because I promise you they're not. And they might already even be being dealt with by God, and you don't know because it's behind the scenes and they don't want you to know. So you don't always have to say something or do something when someone's doing something wrong to you. Let God fight your battle. God will work all things out for your good. Like Romans says, he will. And our attitude is our best friend or our worst enemy. Remember that. And when your attitude, say you get excited and you're like, say you got a big check and you're all pumped up, don't make a major decision. Don't make a permanent decision on feelings, on attitude at that time. Wait until that kind of goes down a little bit, because our feelings can lead us wrong sometimes. Get your attitude on level, balanced keel, because I guarantee you, how you felt yesterday is not how you feel right now. How you felt an hour ago is probably not how you feel right now. So do not make a major or permanent decision, even when your feelings, emotions are low or high. Wait until they're out, they're on an even keel. And don't worry about proving anything to anyone. As long as you know who you are in Christ and whose you are, you got nothing to prove to anyone. When Jesus went to the cross, he was meek. He said to Peter, I don't have to do this. When he was on his way to the cross, when he was in the garden, Peter reached out with his sword and he chopped the soldier's ear off. And Jesus, it's kind of crazy thinking about it. Jesus picked it up, put it back on. Here, he dropped something, buddy. Puts his ear back on. And, oh my gosh, I just can't even imagine that. And Jesus says to Peter, I don't have to do this, but I choose to do this. So Can you or are you the type of person that can be meek enough to choose to let Jesus handle your problems, things for you? Or are you the type of person who has to react every time something happens? Remember, meek is not weak. It is exerting extreme power under control. You're saying that you have extreme inner strength and you have it in check. You have it under control. You know, a meek person they're not a weak person. They're a person with a lot of self-control. You know, if someone does something to you, are you strong enough to be the type of person that says, I can do something, say something, but I don't have to do it. I don't have to do that. That is a strong person. That's a very strong person. I wanted to read you something out of Matthew 5:7. Start Matthew 5:6. Blessed are those who hunger for thirst for righteousness. They will be satisfied. If you seek after Jesus and you're thirsty and hungry for him, you will be filled. Blessed, and this is 5:7. Blessed are the merciful, they will receive mercy. If you show mercy, mercy will be given. The Bible does not lie. This is what the word says, and he follows, and it happens. 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, the meek. Pure heart. You know, you seek after doing the good things, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers and maintainers. Blessed by inner peace and God's love. And those who are persecuted for doing that which is morally right, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You know, there's a price to pay for doing what's right sometimes, but there's also a reward. So you have to decide which is more important. You know, sometimes a little bit of crap here or a giant reward that we will receive in heaven. What's more important to you? Me, I want the reward personally. And like I said before, remember, no matter your attitude, no matter what you have, if you don't have no matter what you have, if you don't have a relationship with God, you're not going to be happy. You can have all the money in the world, all the things in the world, and if you don't have a good attitude about it, a right attitude with God, you're not going to be happy. So sometimes we have to do self-inventory and check ourselves. You have to make a decision, a conscious decision every day. You have to say in your head, I choose today to be happy no matter what happens. Not today, Satan. And you say it out loud. I mean, come on, you talk to yourself anyway. We all talk to ourselves, right? And don't say you don't, because I know you do. We all talk to ourselves. I do. I talk to myself when I've been in the grocery store and people look at me like I'm crazy. But guess what? I don't care, because I know who I am and I know whose I am and I know what I am. I'm a child of God and I know where I'm going and I'm talking to God. So that's all that matters. And maybe somebody will hear me and they might learn something. They might want to talk to God too. You know, so don't stay mad at people. Let it go, because it'll ruin your attitude and it'll ruin your outlook on life. Your attitude changes your perspective. It changes how you see things. It changes how you see people. It changes how you see and look at everything, including yourself. And it will make you miserable. You know, forgive people, because you're really only hurting yourself because you're staying angry, which ruins everything. It ruins your relationship with your spouse, your whoever. It ruins your health. It ruins your sleep. You're only hurting yourself. So just choose to surrender and trust that God will fight your battles for you. Your pride sometimes gets in the way of that, and you don't want to forgive. You don't want to surrender. You don't want to be meek. You don't want to humble yourself because you feel like, well, they'll just do it again. Guess what? They might, and they might, and they might, and you can't stop that. The only thing you can do is control how you react to it in your actions. So let it go. Be meek. As Jesus says, the meek shall inherit the earth. I want to inherit eternity, and we will if we trust that God will fight our battle. Don't let pride keep you stuck in a rut. It gets you in a rut, gets you in this ditch that you can't dig your way out of. So just trust that God, use a little bit of faith and trust that God will get you out of that. So don't be scared to change your attitude, because our attitude about life is everything. It's everything. This man that's sick, he could literally just give up and die, or he could fight and live. There was a time when I was dying. I was in liver failure, and the doctors don't know why that happened. I do. I gave up. I gave up on life. Life had beat me down so much, from my childhood to past relationships to the way people had treated me, my family, everyone. And I just gave up. It didn't matter to me anymore whether I lived or died. And I was in the beginning relationship with the man, my husband now, but it wasn't enough. And crazy enough, I prayed and prayed and prayed, and for a dog. And God, the morning I went to go have liver surgery, gosh, sorry, my neck hurts, guys. God showed me. I went to the animal pound, several times that week, and I looked for a dog, and I looked at every cage, and as sad as they looked, I knew that was not it. And I prayed and prayed for a dog because I had to give all my other ones away when I left, bad situation. And I was very upset about that. Dogs have always been my comfort. They've just always been part of me. So the morning I went to have liver surgery, my boyfriend at the time said, there's a dog. Sorry, he was my husband at the time. Said, there's a dog sitting out beside your car door. Well, we lived way out in the country. I don't know how she got there, where she came from. The pads of her feet were torn off they were literally hanging off. Blood was pouring out of them. She had a cigarette burn on her cracked rib. She was a mess. And she wouldn't come to him. She came right to me. And she put her head in my lap and just collapsed. And I knew that God had sent that dog for me. And when I went to have the surgery, I gave up. I didn't care if I lived or died. And I just kept thinking about that dog. That dog is outside under your deck in the heat. We put food and water out for her, but we couldn't bring her in yet because we were renting and we didn't know her. We couldn't have her destroy the place. We didn't have a cage. We didn't have a leash, anything. So 13 hours later, she was still there. But while I was in the hospital, literally giving up on life, God kept showing me this dog of all things. And I kept thinking, I can't give up. She needs me. God sent me this dog. She needs me. And, who else is going to take care of her? She needs to be healed. She needs to be fixed. That was God's way of showing me what I needed at that time. As crazy as it sounds, that little bit of love that he showed me made me feel like I needed to live again. And I decided to fight, and I made it. Against all odds, the doctor was saying I had hours left to live, and I made it because of my attitude. I needed to come back home to take care of that dog and be her mama, which in turn helped my attitude and helped my marriage, my new marriage, because I was newly married, 100%. So your attitude can change everything. It can make you happy at your job. Think about your attitude. You're complaining about you have a gray hair. What about the person going through chemo that has no hair? You're complaining that you can't get comfortable in your bed. What about the homeless man sleeping under a bridge? I mean, you're complaining that your food's cold. What about a person who doesn't have any food? You're complaining that your legs ache. What about the person that can't walk? And by the way, that was me at one time. I was paralyzed from the waist down from a sledding accident. And that's another story. We'll get into it another time. But, I mean, think about the things that you're complaining about, your attitude, that so many other people would want to have, would be grateful to have. So your attitude in life is everything. You know, rule number 1, maintain the right attitude when the going gets rough. Don't give in. Don't feel like quitting. Don't throw in the towel like I did, because everyone goes to these trials, seasons, and they don't last forever. They are the times that God grows us. He burns off all the impurities. These are the times that we learn. We grow. I mean, we spiritually grow from these times. You know, your attitude is your mental life turned inside out. It really is. You know, our attitude determines how we're going to approach the situation, how we're going to handle it. And our attitude in life just really shows who we are. Nobody wants to be around a negative person. I mean, I used to be so negative that every time I spoke, it was a negative word. Now, I can't stand to be around anything negative. Actually, part of our nighttime prayer, and my nighttime prayer and our nighttime prayer together as a couple, is for God to remove any negativity in our lives or in our hearts, and that we ask for forgiveness for any negativity that we have had towards anyone else. Your negativity can change. It's your thought life. Like, how you think about everything, how you handle it, how you react, how you interact with people. So your attitude is literally the basis, besides Jesus, of your everything. So I'm going to end with that and make a choice. Make a choice today to say when you wake up, I choose today to have a good attitude. I choose today to let God fight my battles. I choose today to know that He will vindicate my wrongs, things that I have wrongly said, done, taken from me, that I'm not going to lose my peace. I'm not going to lose my joy. I'm not going to lose my Jesus over that. Choose to let it go. Choose to forgive. Don't let your pride get you stuck in a rut. Your attitude is everything. There is a instrument on an airplane that is called an altitude adjuster. And then, like I said, your attitude, will determine your altitude, basically. And that instrument on the plane, the nose of the plane, is supposed to stay level with the horizon. Well, if it dips down too low, it will say you need an altitude adjustment. Well, there you go. If it dips up too high, it will say you're climbing, continue. There you go. I mean, think about that. That's exactly how we are in life with our attitude. So make a choice. Make a choice to have a good attitude, because life is short. I used to be able to count how many people that I knew, loved, knew, were friends, family, neighbors, whatever, so anywhere that had died so quickly and so easily. Talk to them one day, the next day they're gone. Been there when some of them have died. Actually been at their bedside. They closed their eyes, they were gone. It's that easy. Life is not promised. That is why it's called a gift. Today is the present. Tomorrow, it may not be promised for us. So choose today to be happy and follow what Jesus says. Be meek, and we will be, even if we are suffering because someone has wronged us, I promise you, God will vindicate us. I know that this woman, she used to have this terrible boss, would just always put her, actually it was me. She was at the worst, she would have the worst positions in the company, the worst everything, all the time. She was just really terrible on her. Well, that woman ended up getting arrested for embezzlement, and the company put me in her position. Had an assistant manager overseeing several apartment complexes, and it was a big responsibility. So I was under her, and I ended up being way over her, and God took care of her because she was doing wrong things, and I knew it. So God will vindicate us. Just trust the process. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, just say, no matter what happens, every day, say this: I choose to be happy. And guess what? If you have that mindset, your smile and your attitude and your body language will follow, but you have to consciously choose that. So we're going to close with prayer. Lord, I just hope that anything I said helped someone. I know I was a little bit off tonight. I apologize for that, Lord, but I had so many things in my head all at once that you were filling me with I wanted to say. I just hope that this touched someone's spirit, that filled them, that strengthened them, that lets them know that they can choose to be happy. They can choose to forgive. They can choose strength. They can choose whatever valley they're at, whatever they're going through, they can choose to be happy. That it's a short time. It's a short time, and we all go through trials. That whatever they're going through, this too shall pass. And we ask that you touch everyone's heart and you uplift them. And we all say this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. And I want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. And I will pray for every single person on this channel. And if you like this channel, please, leave a comment and share this with someone else. You never know who's struggling. Sometimes people struggle behind smiles. Sometimes people struggle in secret, and we don't even know it. So I love you all. Until next time, peace out.